Start off with the baseball team, who had quite the successful spring training trip down to Winter Haven and the big tournament down there. Let's show you how they did. We'll give you a little recap. They went 7-3 down there in Winter Haven. Their opponents not so well, as they fared 48-74, and yes, even one of them had a tie. We left that one out for you. But the staff played very well. Peluso 2-0, Lautzenheiser 2-0, Clark 2-0 as well. Both Lautzenheiser and Clark both had ERAs under 1, so the pitching staff stepping up very big in the absence and graduation, really, of Seth Martin and of Joe Cox. The offense playing very well as well. Bodner with 15 RBIs, and as a team, 23 stolen bases. That is a fantastic number through 12 games. That's almost 2 per contest. We're going to bring in Aaron Cooney now, our baseball analyst. And Aaron, you have to be satisfied with how the team fared down there in Florida.
Oh, you can't beat 7-3 start. Really good way to start off this season. They're down in Florida, and compare that last year, you go 4-5 in the 9 games you played there. So definitely things looking up the start of the season. And, you know, Josh, the questions going into the season were the pitching. You lose, as you mentioned, Joe Cox and also Seth Martin. Those two guys, really the aces for this Pioneer squad last season, and you always had a really good shot at winning when one of those two guys were on the mound. But really the pitching has stepped it up, and I think that's a really good point for the Pioneers to get off very well there down in Florida.
We talked about it with Streno before we went off to break, that the pitching staff for this team would be the key part of the club. We know the bats are going to be there. They have a very good lineup. You saw Bodner there. Angles playing very well as well. Burko. They're running at the top of that lineup, which Coach Torres says that this is how they're going to mold their offense around stealing bases. But again, it's the pitching staff. It's Peluso stepping up to be that ace. Lautzenheiser in the 2-hole. Everyone's bumped up, and from top to bottom, they're really throwing the ball very well.
As you said, that the whole order there in the lineup, batting order, you know those guys are going to be good. The offense is just phenomenal. That top 4, that batting order, Grice, Angle, Pfeiffer, Bodner, guys are just lights out there down in Florida. And then you go look at the pitching staff, and you get in a couple of key transfers in, and you take a look at Sean Clark, a sophomore that came in. 2 really good outings there, both complete games, an ERA of .64. Only give up 4 hits in the 2 starts that he made down in Florida. So a guy can really come in and fill in for a Joe Cox or a Seth Martin. Also another transfer coming in, Ben Rodriguez, the junior. He had a complete game in his 1 lone start, didn't give up any earned runs. I believe he only gave up 2 runs. The same problem that we saw last year was some errors, but still, pitching's been phenomenal there just to start off the season.
And Bodner's also going to come in there and throw, too. He had a save in one of the games down there in Florida, and from what Rocky and Coach Torres and that whole staff is telling me, that this guy is throwing extremely hard at this point, and that is really going to change up the timing of the hitters, which is a big part of it. If you can go in there and have a guy like Peluso, where we're going to have on, and just a little bit throwing that nasty stuff with the curveball down in the dirt, and then you're going to have Bodner come in late games throwing heat, that's going to be tough to catch up to.
It definitely helps. You change things up like that, definitely going to throw off the batters. And you're right, you also got a couple other transfers coming in that can fill in as relief players. James Monroe, another guy that brought in, and that huge, they got I believe it's 13 transfers, or freshmen coming in to jump right into this whole squad, and all those guys are going to just step in and have an impact on the team.
I think Clark's going to be that real key guy down the stretch. The transfer from Duquesne, he had a 6-inning no-hitter going on, let up 2 hits, ended with it. But that third guy is really going to be key, because let's go and show you the road ahead. It's going to be instances like this where they're going to need to rely on a third guy and a fourth guy when they have to go down the stretch like that. They have Tennessee Temple on Friday and Saturday. That's 4 games altogether. They're going to have to play in a 2-game span. You're going to need your big guys there, except on – it's supposed to be on Wednesday, was that PSU Beaver game. It's actually going to be pushed back to Thursday due to the weather and the field readiness at this point. That one's going to be at 1 o'clock. Rodriguez and Tulio scheduled to get the starts there against Beaver. And then on Friday, Saturday, against Tennessee Temple, Peluso, Lautzenheiser, Clark, those 3 looking to get the first 3 starts in that one. What are you looking to see out of this team against 2? Again, Beaver, not really the best of teams, and Tennessee Temple, I think, will be a test.
Well, I definitely think you're going to see the bats. I mean, down to 4 mercy roll games there that they ended up winning, big numbers. These guys can hit. And also, you're going to get that pitching again against some of those tougher teams. You're going to need some of these guys to step up. You mentioned Lautzenheiser and Peluso in their second year here under Lauren Torres in his second year as well. as head coach or manager here. So you got to get these guys all rolling, and as consistency is a really big thing, and that was a problem for him last year. Was you'd have a good game, you go out, have a good inning, everything was clicking. Then the next game you fall up and you end up losing, 12-2 or something like that. It's a lot what we saw last year, and consistency is really going to be the mold that they need to build around.
And if the top of that order can continue to steal bases like that, 23 through 12 games, I mean, that's fantastic. If you're going to put runners in scoring position in that first inning for guys like Engel and Bodner in the middle of that lineup, you better watch out because they're going to put in a lot of runs up against you. Aaron.